You're listening to a Mel and Kim Productions podcast.
Renee Gracie.
Renee Gracie.
And Renee Gracie.
Father Renee Gracie.
Renee Gracie.
Renee Gracie.
Hello and welcome to In the Backseat with me, Renee Gracie. Join me on this captivating ride as I speak to fascinating people who have dared to take unconventional roads to success. Let's buckle up and take the ride together. All right, hello and welcome to another episode of In the Backseat with Renee Gracie. Today we have a gorgeous, gorgeous guest, Kristen Sorrenson, and I'm so excited to have you on as another female on the podcast. I'm really looking forward to chatting and getting to know you. But thank you so much for coming on to start with.
Thank you so much for having me. That was the sweetest intro. Oh my God, that was so beautiful. Of course.
I feel like I'm going to be distracted staring at you the whole time because you're so pretty to look
I know.
at.
I can't stop staring at you either. Girl crush.
She's making me feel better, but she's honestly stunning. And I feel like this is something that I'm really excited to talk about because I feel like you are in an industry. This is my thought process. You're a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
You're an extremely good-looking tattoo artist and you're a female.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I feel like that's a very interesting conversation to have. And I followed you for a little while on Instagram and I've sort of watched your journey. And I remember the first thing I thought when I saw your Instagram page is, what a little pocket rocket. And what a fucking boss bitch, because it is my perception that being good looking and doing tattoos is kind of being a female. Is it difficult? Maybe you can sort of lead into that, because my first thought is, wow, it must have been really difficult to get to where she is.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I have this superpower where I just kind of forget about everything. So it's caused from trauma.
Yeah.
And that has...
That's trauma blackout. It's a real thing.
100%. So I'm really happy where I'm at in life now and everything is pretty smooth sailing. But I'd be lying if I didn't say it was smooth sailing the entire journey. Like absolutely in the beginning. I wasn't heavily tattooed at the start of my career. So I was ridiculed for that.
Being clean skinned.
Clean skin, what are you even doing here? And then being a female, it was quite hard in the big, like now it's so saturated with.
There's women everywhere.
Everywhere, everything, like everyone, whatever you want to be. But back when I started, it was very male dominated and it was extremely intimidating.
Yeah.
And
because the men aren't like friendly looking men. We're talking about like heavily tattooed dudes.
yeah, well,
Some.
I always just feel like I've kind of just lived in my own little bubble. You know, I'm quite oblivious to the world around me. And I
Which
think,
is a good way to be.
yeah. It's just a safety mechanism. It's just like how I cope. Because if I start listening and like feeding into what's around me, like it has taken me down some pretty like dark little places that I don't tend to visit anymore. But yeah, in the beginning it was fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I can
like
imagine.
It was so scary. But I think, you know, now the industry's cleaned up a lot. It's more about the art as opposed to like club you're in and like, you know, sort of-
reputation and all that sort of stuff.
So it's a lot easier now for anyone to kind of get in and involved. But yeah, I just run my own race.
Good.
Like I'm not following anyone. I'm not trying to be anything. I'm just like doing what feels right for me.
I think that's quite obvious when you like see you and in the best way possible. Like when you see sort of what you're doing in your social medias and stuff, it's just really cool to see, and you can see that as a reflection of sort of what you're putting out there and just the fun, cool, different things that you're doing. I can't say I've ever seen a tattoo artist doing some of the different, unique, funny. You've got quite a sense of humor. You're around a lot of quirky people who are so down to do weird and wonderful things as well. So I think that's quite obvious.
Yeah, I feel like you just kind of you put it out there and you build it, they'll come.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When I first started doing all these outlandish, weird, wonderful, wild things, I was a little bit like scared. I was like, oh, it's uncomfortable, but I'll just do it anyway. And then I loved it. And then I just kept doing it. And now people legitimately come for the dancing and the weird shit that I do when I tattoo. If I'm having like a quiet day and I'm a bit tired, they'll be like, are we going to do content? Like, am I going to flip you up backwards? Like, we're going to piggyback around the tattoo machine. You're like, what are we doing? And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, so sorry. So So it's this crazy niche market that I've created for myself that I accidentally got into from just, look, it came from, I was so stifled in like the shops that I've worked in. Like there was always like big egos at hand that were like, I always felt scared to be myself. And if I was ever myself, I was like silenced, like shut up, pitiful woman. Or like when I've worked with other girls, it was like, oh my God, she's such an attention seeker. Like she's toxic. And I was like, I'm not fucking toxic, man. I'm like the nicest person ever. But I went through like this massive transition about like 2-3 years ago where my whole life just started shaking up. Like my relationship fell apart. And then I think it's because of therapy. I went to therapy.
Yeah.
And so I started setting firm boundaries. And so when I set those boundaries, my relationship was like the first to go because like that person benefited from me just always being available and just doing whatever he wanted. And I was like, you know what? No, fuck you. I'm going to start doing things for me. And when I started doing that, that's when he was like, see ya. And I was like, oh shit, that hurts. And then it was friends. Friends started falling away. And, and then where I was working, it was like really toxic. They were like, oh, she has such an ego. And it's like, I'm just fucking happy. Yeah. Finally. Like, I'm saying yes to me. And if that is, like, upsetting you, then I'm fucking sorry. Yep. And then, like, I lost my job. Like, I got fired. So my relationship fell apart. I got fired. And I lost all my fucking friends. Yeah, wow. And then, like, where I'm at now, I just, like, I knocked on the door. I was like, hey, can I just, like, come to a guest spot for, like, 2 weeks? I don't even know if I want a tattoo anymore. Like, I'm kind of fucking over it. But I got bills to pay. And I got people waiting for me. Like, can I just chill for 2 weeks? It's been like 3 years in September in that space. It's like in that environment, I've grown.
Things just clicked after that. That's like, kind of the saying, or that's kind of what people say. Sometimes things have to like fall apart.
Absolutely.
And what's the saying? There's no flowers without rain or whatever it is. It's kind of that metaphor.
True. It's so true. And like, nothing's as beautiful as it is if you don't go through that hardship. Like I've honestly gone fucking through it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it can get much worse for you. I feel like everyone sort of has a moment where they sort of hit rock bottom, and it's how you sort of bounce back from that, and how you take those moments and you learn so much and you reflect and you make yourself better, which is really cool to...
I've learned to bounce back faster. Yeah. So in the past, I would hit rock bottom. Fuck, man, I love rock bottom. I hit it so many times. I tell you what. And I do it in secret, you know, like I'll go home and cry on the floor of the shower. Yeah. And like, you know, in the past, I would just sit there for so long, like weeks, months, like just feeling sorry for myself, just sad dogging myself. Yep. Whereas now I just like pull myself up by the boots and I'm just like, I have all these like coping mechanisms where it's like, you know what? Like life is actually pretty fucking epic. I have so much to be grateful for and it's like a state of mind. Yeah. As soon as I start feeling grateful, I'm no longer a victim of my circumstance that I put myself into. Yeah, wow. And it's just like, I'm getting faster at like rebuilding and getting back on track. I'm not saying
that's such a good way to be.
Yeah, I know it's gonna like dip and like twirl, and
you can't be positive all the time.
You can't be positive all the time. Like I know, and like I like to recharge, like because I am so social, and when I do all this stuff, like I'm out there, but I do need to recharge. Yeah. So I love being alone. Yep.
I get that. I'm the same. I do so much, and then I'll have to go like a couple of days where I tell people, I'm like, don't talk to me. Off. Yeah. I was like, I'm out.
I'm in a dark room, turning
my time. Like I'm zoning out. Don't talk to me. Yeah. I'll talk to you when I'm ready. Absolutely. And if you don't hear from me, don't fucking talk to me because I'm out. I'm done. I just need my like moments of time away from people. And there's some times where like the thought of interacting with people actually like stresses me out because I've done it so much. And you probably feel like that too because you're with clients and people who have a high expectation of you and you're social and you do all these things. So I like fully understand that.
Yeah, it's a big mental game for me. So if I like, for instance, this weekend I'm hosting like a tattoo convention over the weekend. Yeah. And so that's 3 days, 3 full days of being social, of hosting and like just interacting with people, which I love, and I'm so fortunate to have this opportunity. But this week leading up to it, mentally, I'm preparing for it. Oh, like I'm just like not doing anything too crazy. I'm trying to go to bed early and trying to eat right, and like drinking for me is a problem. Like I can't drink alcohol if I want to be on. Yeah. So it's been a battle because I fucking love drinking. Yeah. Like I'm really good at it. But because I have to be on, like I can't afford to be like hungover.
Yeah. And you so probably have to wait until the last day where you can probably sit back and reward yourself and let loose a little bit.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop. There's always something on. So I don't have a big enough window to like factor in like, okay, I need 4 days to recover. Like, it's like, I just like I've got to like I got to miss out on the fun so I can like be on.
Yeah, be good at what you're doing in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you drink?
Not really. I'm not
Yeah.
a huge drinker, to be honest. I've been through it. I've done it, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of like you. I feel like I make the sacrifice of not drinking much because I generally always have to be on, whether
Yeah.
it's messaging my fans or going on doing social media things. I know if I'm hungover, something will fucking happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like going to have to be pulled in each direction, and I'm just going to be just so over everything.
Yeah.
And generally I feel like that's why I don't drink, because I've done it to the point where I've needed the 2-3 day recovery and shit goes down, something
Yeah.
happens, and I'm like, oh my God, I hate my life.
Yeah.
I think I could actually go without drinking permanently.
Yeah.
I feel like I just drink alcohol on rare occasions because I've always wondered, I wonder how long I can go without drinking. The longest I've ever gone is 6 months.
Yeah, nice.
Without even trying.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could probably go without it, but I'm in an environment, motorsport and all that sort of, like,
Yeah.
people just have a drink and they're like, you want a drink? I'm like, yeah, I'll have
Yeah.
one. And it's just like a social thing, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to drink all the time. I used to be like, oh, I'm really nervous about something. I'm going to have a drink, or I'm going to go meet this person, or I hope they have alcohol there because I'm talking to someone who's important and I need a wine, even though I'm not a wine drinker. But now I just like cut it off. I'm like, no.
I would think like that. I would think that I would need alcohol to like give me confidence, but then I found it did the opposite.
Yeah.
It made me super sloppy, and then I couldn't articulate a sentence.
And I wasn't
then
a
I'd be
big
anxious
drinker.
about it. Like,
Yeah, and I
fuck.
wasn't a big drinker, so it'd take like one wine or one cocktail and I'm half pissed. And the second one, I'm like hungover and blackout. So I'm not a big drinker. So yeah, I draw that line. I want to go back to the beginning. I guess, little Kristen, obviously you're very creative. So every kid is creative in some degree, but you're beyond that and you're quite remarkable at what you do. What was that journey like, discovering that you're super talented in what you do now?
When I was young, I actually thought I was Christina Aguilera. Yeah, I was Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, right.
And I wanted to be a
I
singer.
feel like you're the hotter version.
Oh my God, I love you so fucking much. No, I wanted to be a singer. Like, that's what I wanted to be, was a singer. And then I got into dancing. So I was like singing, dancing, and then I did acting. So I was singing, dancing, acting. And the drawing was just on the side. That was just something that I would do because I loved being alone. And like, that's what I would do when I was alone. My first portrait was actually a picture of Tupac because
really?
I was like obsessed with him at like 10. I was listening to gangster rap at like 10 years old and Christina Aguilera. So it was like a really weird mixture. But yeah, I've always been creative. I've always been artistic. My mum kind of fostered that for me. So she's a dancer, a singer. She's done all of that. So she kind of like pushed me into it when I was young, and I actually hated it. I hated dancing when I was little. I was so scared. I was so shy.
Yeah.
I was so painfully shy that I was like, why are you making me do this? And then I had a break, and then I would, because she was a dancer, I would just like sit there and watch her, and I just got FOMO, and I was like, fucking let me back at it. So I got back into it, and I haven't stopped.
I feel like that's why parents do push kids to do some stuff like that. I think it's a really good confidence booster, and it is something that teaches you a lot. I personally said absolutely fucking not. I didn't do it, but my parents were the same with us with music. That was their thing. They really pushed us to do instruments and to be in a band and perform because they thought, well, that's what all kids have to do, and it teaches you a lot. No, absolutely not. I just used to pretend that I was playing. It was really horrible.
See, I tried to play the guitar, but it used to hurt my fingers.
Yeah, it's not for me.
But I wish I kept it up now.
Yeah, looking back on it, it's the best time to learn, isn't it?
God damn it, you knew it was right. I was like, fought you on every step of the way.
Yeah, and then so with the drawing and the how does that work? How does that progress? And how do you then go, wow, I'm really good at doing things like this. I'm really talented.
I don't think that though, honestly. I'm just like falling in the right direction daily. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. I've been doing it for 14 years.
We should do a draw off. Then I think you will realize that you're really good at what you do.
It just honestly, it ignites a fire inside of me. Like when I get the opportunity to actually draw, it's like, oh my God, it's the biggest turn on. I'm like horny the whole time. It's like so exciting.
I saw one you did the other day and it was just like you did it with, was it a pencil?
Yeah, pencil. I did that because I was in like a situationship and I had to cut it off because it was so exhausting of my time and energy. And I did that thing that like you do. I was like, turn my phone off for 4 days. Yeah. I was like, fuck everyone. I'm going to be at home alone and draw. And so I did, and I came up with that, and I was so happy with it. And then I kind of ventured back out into the world, and I
Came out of
saw
your
the
shell.
sun. And I was like, hi, everybody. How you doing? But yeah, so it's like an outlet for me. It's like it's where I just release all of that emotion and whatnot. But yeah, I've always drawn, but I never thought I was any good at it. Tattooing was an accident. I was doing interior design, and I was with a guy whose sister was a tattoo artist, and I was studying. I think I'd graduated or I was on holidays. I couldn't remember, but she was going to Europe and was like, why don't you come? And I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? So we traveled around Europe, and then she was tattooing at all these conventions, and it was the London Tattoo Convention, and I was just lit the whole time. And I was with this other girl who was a tattoo artist, and she was like, oh my God, my lip stuck to my... She's like, do you want to do this? And I was like, you know what? I fucking do. Like, so bad. So when I got home, I just quit my job and started tattooing with no idea. I think I cried every tattoo for the first 6 months. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm really sorry.
But you must have been creative to some degree, and obviously you sort of had that creative
like I was drawing
flair.
every day. Like,
And you were doing interior design.
Yeah.
Is that more online? That's more like Caddy, or is
Yeah,
there drawing
ArchiCAD
involved?
and all that. But yeah, because that's what it was on computer. So I was super bored. So I started drawing in my spare time. And I was doing like commission pieces for like family and friends.
Yeah, cool.
And then the sister was like, hey, like you're really good at drawing. Like, why don't you do tattooing? And at the time, I was like scared of everyone and everything. I was like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, scary. I would be scared too.
It was scary.
Yeah, I can
imagine. So I was like, no, I like know what comes with that industry.
Yeah.
But then when I like got a taste of it and I was a part of it, it was just actually this really beautiful, vibrant culture that wasn't really that scary, and it was electric and it was fun, and everyone just, I find that everyone is accepted. You could be whoever the fuck you want to be.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You can look like any type of way, and you are accepted by like the tattoo culture.
Yeah, I agree. I feel
So
like
it's
everyone's welcomed.
I felt home.
Yep.
I felt, because I've always felt like out of place and like a bit of an outcast, because, you know, I grew up in the country. Everyone sort of like rides horses and motorbikes, and I wanted to draw pictures and dance and sing and be this like extra little fucking flower unicorn. So when I got a part of this industry, I was like, this is a vibe and I want in. Like, I want it, sign me up. Like, let's do it yesterday. And yeah, it's been 14 years in October.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first tattoo or those first few tattoos?
Yep.
Did you practice on anything?
Yeah, actually.
And train?
I practiced on pigskin. It was gross.
That's pretty common though nowadays, is it?
Well, back then, now we have like, it's called pound of flesh. It's like a second skin.
Yeah.
It's like fake skin. But back then, we just literally used pig skin. It was so gross. And I just remember it was just tearing up. And I was like, oh. So when I actually got to tattoo, like real skin, it was easier. So that was a really nice transition. But I think it was a rose on my friend's leg. And I look at it now and it's literally like a black cabbage. And I was like, let me fix it. He's like, no, I want you to remember where you came from. Like, this is humbling you. Like, just never forget where you came from. I love that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
really,
you should
really
do
cute.
like a new rose next to it just so you can compare and see how far you've come.
All right, that's a good idea. Watch this space. But my family as well, because when I first started, I was like, don't come to me. Like, give me like 3 years until I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And they were all like, no, like knocking down the door, like, let's get in now. Like my mom, my brothers, everyone except for my dad. I have never tattooed my dad, which I will tattoo because it is now like, because you won't let me do it, I have to do it.
It's like you've got to do it.
But everyone
you have to like
else,
hold him down one day.
I know. I just like, even if it's like a little freckle dot, like, gotcha. Psych. Christmas time, Dad. What's that? Gotcha. I will get you.
So they were all really supportive, obviously.
That was so supportive.
Your dad hasn't got a tattoo, but I can assume that he's probably still supportive of it.
It was really surprising because I thought they wouldn't be, because I was like, oh, because they're all builders. I was like, going to be interior designer, family business. And I was like, go on, bro, going to be a tattoo artist.
Yeah, jokes,
sorry about
I'm
it.
doing this. Yeah.
It's like, but they were really, really supportive.
Yeah, wow.
And I think because, like at the time, I think it was just all girls, that shop. So it was a safe environment. So they're like, okay, she's like, she knows what she's doing. That they were all super supportive and they all wanted to get tattooed like immediately. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck I am doing. Yeah. Like, this is a bad idea. And I was like, please, no. But they wouldn't listen. And now I know what I'm doing. None of them want to get tattooed because they're like, no, you're actually,
the hype's gone
you're
now.
shit.
Yeah.
You're not even like, look at it. We're covered in shit. Like, this is the quality of work that you pump out. So yeah, like none of them want to get tattooed by me anymore, which is funny. But yeah, so it's been an interesting road.
How did you find what you liked? Because
Yeah.
tattooing is so broad now. Like you can do
Yeah.
fine lines, you can do colors, you can
Yeah.
do it's endless.
Yeah.
And you kind of need to try a bit of everything to find it, or do you just know? How did you know what you wanted to do?
I already knew what I wanted to do. It was like closely to how I draw. So I do like portraits and realism. But as an apprentice back then, you have to do everything. Literally throw you in the deep end. You got to do color, you got to do line work, you got to do trad, you got to do realism. Like I did it all, and I was so stressed out doing any other style other than grey wash realism. I was literally sweating and like, you know, having like cute little Menti bees on my lunch break when I was doing script. Like I fucking hate script.
Yeah.
And every now and then people like still come to me for it. They're like, oh, I want to get a portrait, but like my daughter's name in script. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? Like I'll do it. But I'm telling you, like I'm really good at portraits. Like the other
let's just
stuff
stick
not
to
so
that.
much. But yeah, so everything else felt foreign. And the only thing that felt right was like portraits and realism, which is like exactly how I draw. So yeah, it took a while to kind of integrate that and then build up that clientele. But once I had that clientele, that's all I booked.
Yeah.
And so now that's what they come for that.
Yeah,
They-
that's what you're
They
known
come for
for
my
now.
style. So
Yeah,
it was a slow progression, but it was also easy. Like
It's easy if you know what you're good at, what you love, and that
it
was
just
one
felt
thing.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of
Did you ever try anything else? Was there anything that you like lent, or was it really just the realism?
just felt like a chore, to
Yeah.
be honest. Like I
Nothing
had to do
really-
it. It didn't hit right.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I did a very good job. And I didn't fuck with really anything
Yeah, you're
else.
just destined to do what you do now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
love that. All right, we're going to talk about it a bit more in the next bit. We're going to take a bit of a break. I've got a few more questions to ask you
Okay.
and a few more juicy things.
Let's go, girl.
Yeah, stick around and
I'm
see
ready.
what we've got coming up next.
Fuck yeah. Woo!
You're listening to In the Back Seat with Renee Gracie.
Okay, welcome back to In the Back Seat. We are here with Kristen, the beautiful tattoo artist from the Gold Coast who is multi-talented. And I've got a few burning questions for you.
Shoot.
One thing what's the weirdest place you've tattooed?
Yeah, I get this question all the time, and I have the lamest answer.
Oh.
I got nothing.
I thought some dude would make you like tattoo their
I
ball
know.
sack or something.
I'm actually disappointed.
I got this really
honest.
hot chick to tattoo my ball sack.
I'm sad that no one has ever asked me to do that. I had a flatmate once, and he asked me as a joke, and I laughed, and he was obviously like, oh, I guess she's not going to do it. So then he come home that afternoon, and he got it done by someone else, and he like didn't show me, but he showed me a picture, and it was like a Louis Vuitton symbol on his nutsack, because it's the bag that every girl wants.
Louis Vuitton bags. Yeah,
And I was like,
I get
this
it.
fucking idiot. But yeah, no, I've never tattooed a genital, which is quite disappointing. Probably the weirdest thing I've done is this young kid, fresh 18. It was like his birthday. He comes in, he
Standard.
lost a bet, was like, script. So I was stressed out. He's like, I want script across my chest. I was like, yeah, what do you want? He's like, live life with no pants on. And I was like, I can fuck with that. So I did it. And then I think it was like the same day, his mum storms in and was like, why would you do this? I was like, I don't know. He signed the consent form. Like, he's an adult now. Like, this is your child. He made the decision. Like, fucking, it's not me, man.
Parent your child.
Yeah.
You don't need to be parented. Yeah.
So that's probably the wildest thing.
Yeah, wow.
Or if there is, I can't really remember. But
Yeah, interesting.
pretty lame.
What's a session for realism take? Because someone I've got 2 leg sleeves.
Yeah.
And they're not really realism, but like I know like the lengths that it takes to get tattoos, and some of your stuff is pretty spectacular and detailed. What's average and what's the longest?
Yeah. Okay. So the average is come in about 9, start tattooing by 10:30, done by like 4:35.
Okay.
Made like a couple of breaks in between because like I pee every half an hour.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that's an average day. Like 9 to
For an
5.
average size piece, which
That's
might be what, like a forearm or a like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Yep.
forearms, like 4 or 5 hours
Yeah, okay.
max. But I did a really big sitting the other day. I think it was like 8 hours. It was this
Wow.
girl's outer thigh. And it was just because I have children and every other week they're with their dad. And it was the week they were with their father. And she just was sitting really well. And I was like, do you want to just like keep going? And she's like, yeah, fuck it, why not? So we pumped out. We started at like 10:30 and we went to about I think it was like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I was fried by
Yeah, I
the end
could
of it.
imagine.
And she was like shaking, but I was so stoked because
She
I
would have
actually
been fried
got
too.
so much detail in.
Yeah, wow.
It's like the oh my God, if you have a good client with like an epic concept, that's rare. You're like, fuck yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And then if they have like really like nice skin, like they're not completely sun damaged, you're like, "Ugh, even better. But then they have to sit. So if they're just like not moving and they're
Yeah.
just like chilling all day, it's like, it comes once a year, once
Yeah.
every 5 years. It's like the rarest thing. And I got that the other week, and it was just like the funnest day. I was
And
so
talk
stoked.
us through that when it comes to are you at the point now where you can pick and choose your clients and you can this might sound bad, I don't want to sort of put you in this position where you have to admit it, but do you look at someone and go, it's not my vibe, I don't think you'll sit well, your skin's not good, and do you knock people back?
Yeah, so I can 100% pick and choose what I want to do. It's not necessarily that. It'll be, so I book via email or Instagram. So I can tell through like their wording, the way that they approach me, if
wow.
they're going to be hard work or not. If they're like pretty chill, like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Like, you're happy to like take creative freedom, like, well, whatever you want to do, let's go. And if they have like a really cool design, I'll be like, heck yeah. But if they're like, hey, I need it 9 centimeters high and I want it off to the left by 3 millimeters and I need it exactly like this with a stripe of red, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy for you. Just because I am so spontaneous with everything that I do. If someone's like boxing me in and like keeping me super rigid, I like stress out all day just because I'm overthinking that like what I'm doing isn't what they want, because if they're so fucking precise, like it stresses me out.
And it's pressure because it's a
It's
tattoo.
so much
and
pressure.
some people do get quite precious about it and obviously
Yeah.
wanting like a perfect thing.
There are artists out there that are very, very particular and like they will give you that. So go see that person. I'm the kind of girl you come to when you're like, I don't know what I want, but I like this, like slap it on, let's go.
Yep.
Fuck yeah. I'll pick that any day of the week. And I get them all the time. So
Yeah, it's fun, it's
yeah.
creative. I was
Yeah.
similar like that to my legs. I sort of had like my few things that I wanted. I wanted some koi, I wanted a Buddha, I wanted like a handful of things, and I think I wanted like a lotus flower.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Your stuff's beautiful, by the way.
I was like, do the rest.
It's really tidy.
Yeah.
It's really
So
well
I'm
done.
really happy with mine, and I gave like everyone sort of like creative freedom and sort of stuck with what I wanted roughly, and I sort of just let the rest
That's where you
happen.
get the best results. When
Yeah.
you leave it up to your artist, like give them like a rough idea and like tell them where you want to put it placement wise, and then like a rough idea of the theme or concept. And then if you just let them sort of run with it, and you already know their work because you've been following them on their
And
socials.
for me, it's like, you have the experience.
Yeah.
You're the tattoo artist. You tell me.
Yeah.
Like, that's just my
That's
opinion.
how I got my back done. It literally started with like a butterfly. No, so it started, I tattooed him first and we worked together. And he was like, oh, well, what do you want for it? Like, how much? I was like, oh man, I can't charge you. Like, just tattoo me.
Yeah.
And at this stage, I hadn't had any tattoos. This was like 7 years into my career. And he was like, wait, what? Seriously? I was like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Let's do it. And it was going to be like this cute little butterfly on my shin. I was like, just do a butterfly, because he was really good at these butterflies. And then I think that night he'd posted on Instagram a back piece that he'd pumped out. It was like this beautiful folk floral, all stipple work in dots. So it's like all dotted in. And I just messaged him. I was like, that. He's like, what? I was like, a back piece. He's like, aren't we doing a butterfly? I was like, no, let's fuck it up. Do my whole back. So I went from like having nothing to an entire back piece.
Yeah,
and it was
wow.
just like, I couldn't have been, like, I'm so happy with it. And I just said, just do whatever you want.
Yep.
Here's my back, send him a nude. And then he just come up with the goods, and I'm stoked. If I was like, oh please, I want it like this, and this, he'd probably be so much different to like how it is.
Because he did it how he knows, and
Yeah.
his experience sort of led him to where he needed to go creatively.
Yeah, and I chose him because I loved his stuff. I
Yeah.
was like, I love this. Do that for me.
Yeah.
Do
Yep.
it. Yeah.
I love that. I'm like that. I'm personally not very strict on anything in life, or like overly controlling. So
Yeah,
I couldn't
same.
imagine getting a tattoo any other way. Like if I'm going to an artist, I'm choosing them for their experience and
Yeah.
creative freedom. In my opinion, that's how I would choose a
Yeah.
tattooist, and I think most people are like that. One thing that I want to get to now, I'm going to get to the juicy stuff. I mean, we've already got juicy stuff, but I think I've got another burning question about The Bachelor.
Oh yeah, I did that. It was a little blip. Yeah, it was a good time. What do you want to know?
How did it happen?
Yep.
How did you get scouted? Like, did
Yeah.
you contact? Did you enroll?
It's a good question.
Like, how did that happen?
It's random. There was a lot going on at that time. I think I'd just been scouted to go on Big Brother. So I'd gone, so they're like, hey, you're through, like, just come and do, like, what do you call it? Like an audition. It was a group audition. So we were like, I had another friend, Julia. We were meant to just like go in. We were just on the show. And then we did the audition and then like blue balled us so hard. Like we just didn't end up going. Like they booked our tickets. They got our shoe sizes. We were going on. And then last minute they're like, oh, you're not going.
Wow.
I was like, oh, okay. But I think the casting director that had hooked that up sort of G'd me up for the Batchy. He was like, oh, hey, we got this gig. Do you want to go on it? And the timing was so bad. So I was in the middle of a house settlement, child custody, a fucking divorce. I was like, bro, I can't come. I'm dealing with lawyers, banks, like you name it. And I actually bought my ex out of the house. So it was...
Love that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, you're not taking my fucking house. I'll buy you out of it.
Yeah.
So I did that. It was like the most stressful thing I've ever done. I love it now because I'm sitting and I'm just like really content. I was like, I fucking did that. But at the time, I was like, I don't even know if I can do it. Like, this is so hard. Life is hard. Everything is hard. And then he was calling me for that. And I was like, no, I can't fucking go. And then I'd hung up the phone. I believe it was half an hour later, my lawyer calls and he's like, yeah, sweet, it's done. It's all been done. He signed the documents. He's got his money, on your way. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, you're a free woman. I was like, fuck yeah. So I called him back. I was like, yeah, sweet. I'll pack my bags. I'll be there in 2 days. And so it was like 2 days later. But I was like, under the conditions that I can check my emails because I'm still going through like banks and whatever. So yeah, they flew me down and I was allowed to check my email like every other day to just see like what I had to sign. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. I think before filming was probably the hardest because they put you in like it's like lockdown.
Yeah, what's that like? Give us the goss on reality TV for a little bit.
It's like hectic. It's like fucking army tactics, man. So they like lock you in a room with like no opening windows and like they tell you can go to the gym for an hour. But they don't tell you what time. And they say they're going to give you breakfast, but you don't know what time. And then, like, you don't know what fucking day it is or if it's nighttime or daytime. And you're like, hey, can I go to the gym? And they're like, yeah. And then, like, 3 hours later, like, you haven't left the room. And you go and stir crazy. And you're like, I need to go now. And they're like, okay. So they took me to the gym. And I was timing it because I was on, like, the treadmill. And I could see how long I was on it. I was on it for 7 minutes. And they come in. They're like, all right, it's time to go now. I was like, you said I had an hour. They're like, yeah, it's been an hour. I'm like, it hasn't been an hour. It's been 7 fucking minutes. And so I was going batshit crazy. I was like, is
and what's with the games? Why do they do that? Do you know? Or
they want to like make you so vulnerable. So like when...
break you down.
Yeah, like I did. I went down there saying, I'm never going to cry on TV. Like you won't break me. And like after the lockdown, we go into like these interviews. And the very fucking first question they asked me was... why are you not worthy of love? And like, why has no one ever been interested enough in you to stick around? Oh. And I, before like that, I was like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what are you talking about? But in that environment, I was like, I don't know, man. I'm such a fucking loser. Like, why am I single? Like, I don't know. And I cried immediately. Wow. And then, like, the rest of the interview, I was just wigging out. I was like, fuck. Like, I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have done that. And then after the interview, I went back to my room and I was just like, I want to go home. I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want them to air that. Like, I spoke about my ex and, like, at the time, like, we weren't in the best place. We're good now. Like, everything's so sweet. But... it's like I overshared. I'm an oversharer. Yeah. And I was like, I promised myself I wouldn't do that. And I'd done that. And so like before we even filmed, I was like, I want to go the fuck home. I hate every second of this. But yeah, like, because I knew I was going to leave early. Like I just didn't want to be there. I was, mind you, you don't get paid to go on reality TV. So I was hemorrhaging money being away. So I'd like, my mortgage had just doubled. Yeah. I'd like postponed like 5 weeks worth of work. So I wasn't like making anything. And I was just like, fuck. And I was just doing the math. And my producer comes up to me and she's like, so are you having fun? Like when we started filming, she's like, do you love any of the Bachelors? Are they hot? And I was like, look, sis, if I'm going to be real, I'm hemorrhaging money. Like I wouldn't mind just like kicking it if that's chill. And then I didn't think anything of it. But yeah, I ended up leaving first episode. So it was great. It was epic. Like, but that one episode took like 2 or 3 days to film. Wow. So it was only one episode, but like we filmed the rose ceremony at like 12:30 at night, and we didn't finish until like 4 a.m.
Wow, I've heard and seen that the your exit was pretty epic. Do you want to explain to everybody how you left?
Yeah. So get this, like I binge watched The Bachelor before I went down because I hadn't actually seen it. So, and I was watching the rose ceremonies. And I was like, why are these like bitches always so miserable looking? Like, it's fucking exciting. You're on TV, right?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah.
Well, now you know why, because they've been put in
standing
the
there
lockdown.
for 3 fucking hours in heels. Mind you, it was in Melbourne in the middle of winter and we're in ball
Miserable.
gowns, freezing.
Yeah.
And so we're all standing there and you're like trying to fake smile for 3 hours and you're just exhausted. Like you haven't been fed. They've given you like 1 glass of watered down wine. And so like, when I knew I was going home, I was off it, I was just pissed. I was like, you fucking stuck me around, put me through it, and now, like, I'm just leaving. And I was like, I'm not leaving without memorabilia. So I was the last name to be called. And I was like, sweet, like, thanks for having me. If you want to get tattooed, come to the Gold Coast. I'll hook you up. And then I was like, well, I'm leaving with the silverware. So I stole the silver tray that the roses were sitting on. And I just said, deuces. And I fucking walked out. It was funny because, like, every other girl had to do 3 takes of, like, their leave.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like they were proper upset. They were actually crying. Like
That
they
they
didn't want
missed
to go
out.
home. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they had
But
to
you
redo
were like
it.
stealing shit on your way out.
I was like, fuck this. I'm out, sis. And I'm fucking taking a trophy. Like, bye, bitches.
Did you get to keep it?
Well, no. it was
fuckers.
heritage listed or something like that. Because I
bullshit.
had stolen it. And then the producer was like, all right, Kristen, we need that back. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, we can see it under your dress. I was like, oh, this thing. I was like, can I keep it? He's like, no, Kristen.
That's been here the whole time.
You cannot keep it. I was like, fuck. I was so off it. I was like, at least give me something. And anyway, so that didn't air for like 6 months. So I'd forgot that I'd done it. And I hadn't told anyone that I'd gone on the show. So like I hadn't told my ex. I hadn't told the girls that I work with knew because obviously I wasn't going to be at work for 5
Yeah,
weeks.
you weren't going to be there. Yeah.
But it was crazy because it was only gone for a week. And then I was back. So I
But it didn't get aired for so long.
Yeah, so no one
Oh.
had known. And then when it was on TV, everyone's like, what the fuck? When did you do this? I was like, oh, shit. I've actually done a couple of shows that haven't aired yet. And same kind of thing, just like a little 2-minute stunt. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just in it. And then I'm just like, bye.
Bye.
Like, I'm not, I don't know. I don't think, how do I explain this? I'm so off the cuff that like, they don't
think
like
that-
that.
yeah, I
They want
think that's
someone that they
too
can
much.
produce and direct. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm 100% me. Like,
Yeah.
what comes out?
I feel like some people like that though, but then maybe I think some producers would probably be scared.
that
of it.
like so like they were walking around just being like, oh, did you hear such and such called such and such a bimbo? I'm like, so like what do you want me to do about it, man? She's like, well, go tell her. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. Why
yeah,
would I
because they
do
want to be
that?
recording you.
Yeah.
And, wow.
And so they were like, oh, Kristen, she's an issue. We're going to get her out of here. She's trying to make everyone be friends. And I was. And it's crazy because we're all really, really close, like us girls, like from the show. Because it's like such a stressful environment.
Yeah.
Like you've gone
And you're
through
all
it
going
together.
through the same tough thing.
Yeah. And they're all playing you against one another, but it's like you're all just in it together.
Yeah.
So you just band together.
Yeah.
I didn't stick around long enough to know what
To
actually
find
went
out.
down.
Yeah. You know enough.
I know enough.
Yeah,
I know enough.
you're out of there.
Yeah, it was like 5 weeks of just that, and I was only in it for a week, and I was like, I'm checking out.
Yeah, I don't know how. Now I have more respect for the girls that make it to the end.
Fucking me too.
Yeah,
me
wow.
too. Like
I could never.
I could never.
I could never.
No.
I've been like scouted by a few people before. They wanted me to like do a few things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, absolutely not.
I kind of feel like you should. It'd be
Nah.
fun. Just try it out.
No.
Let's do it together.
I'd give myself the ick. And it was like someone, I just feel like the environment and like the
Yeah.
people and stuff. Like I just feel like if I'm same as you, if I just don't feel it, I'm
Yeah.
completely logged out.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so much other stuff I can do with my time in my life. Now where I'm
100%.
at right now, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, if it was just like a quick turnaround and it was
Yeah.
a fun show.
Yeah, reality not so much, but like challenging stuff I could probably do because I
Yeah.
think I'm tougher and like stronger than what a lot of people assume. But
No, I
a
reckon you're a tough
reality
bitch.
thing, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'd be the one like starting fights and people would be staring at the same people every day and like it just do my head in. I couldn't do it, I don't think.
Yeah, I've never lasted long enough to
Yeah.
get to that one. I'd probably be the same.
I'd be like you stealing shit on my way out. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me and thank you so much for coming on. It's been really, really good. I am going to get you to tune back in though because we are going to do an in the front seat.
Okay.
And you're going to take a front seat and answer some rapid fire questions.
Let's fucking go.
You've just listened to In the Back Seat with Renee Gracie, a Mel and Kim Productions podcast.